All right, Jules, we not done. More quick hits. Darwin Nunez makes his first start and scores a tremendous goal as Liverpool beat up Bournemouth 3-0. Luis Diaz, bit special too.
Bit special
Jules, is Slot gaining confidence in him?
It's interesting, Gab, because I didn't really expect him to start in this game.
He's got to start at some point.
I know, I guess, but Jota, there was no reason, even if Jota hasn't scored in the last few games, maybe for Slot to not be happy with Jota. Maybe he just wanted to rest him a bit. It'd be interesting to see who starts going forward now, because Darwin, I thought, played really well. You see the goal that he scored, the finish is great, but before that, there's the flick for Salah for the one of the 1-2, and then he finishes really good on his left foot. It's one of those super hard chances that usually he scores, and then the easy one that he's going to mess it up. But we see certainly it's good for Slot to have another of his forward on good form. We say Gakpo played really well against Milan. Luis Diaz is on fire. Salah is Salah. Jota, okay, maybe not as good as the others, and not Darwin. So, well done and good win to bounce back for Liverpool.
Last 2 seasons, he's underachieved expected goals, I think by 5 or 6. It's funny because Slot said, what do you want from him? He says, hey, I want goals. Of course he's going to say that, right? I think Darwin Nunez can be so disruptive even when he doesn't score.
Yeah.
And maybe he has a future as another option out wide. Yeah, although the wingers, of course, are pretty good.
Yeah. Manchester United are held 0-0 at Crystal Palace on Saturday. I guess if your glass is half full, Gab, it's 3 clean sheets in a row for them. But if it's half empty, maybe not so good. And Gab, were you surprised that Marcus Rashford didn't start this game?
I was surprised by the fact that by not starting him and by saying what you said pre-game, you're making it a thing.
Yeah.
I went back and I listened to Erik ten Hag's pre-game interview where he talked about Rashford's lifestyle last year and he sorted it out and now he's doing much better. Now, the problem is I know he's not a native English speaker, but in that interview he switches between past tense and present tense, right? So he says, he goes like, well, he needed to get more serious with his football. I'm paraphrasing here, right?
Yeah.
Then he says he needs, and he's bringing it back into the present. This just lends itself to confusion.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big deal he didn't start. But, dude, Eric, you need to be clear. And you, Manchester United, have to make sure that Erik ten Hag is clear. Erik ten Hag is not a public spokesman. He's a football coach. That's what he gets paid for. When he has something to say, you have to make sure that it's very clear so that you don't get another Rashford case, because we had, Jamie Carragher and others kind of making suggestions that there was something going on. And there's a bad history there. So you want to avoid that at all costs. Real Madrid rest Vinicius, go a goal down to Espanyol, bring him on, and he scores and delivers a beautiful assist. Not as good as Yamal's, but pretty darn close.
Still very good as well with the outside.
Jules, is this a sign of Vini dependency, or kind of just how the game went? Because I thought they were really good before Vini came on.
Yeah, I thought the first half was okay. I still expect more from them. It was slightly different with Arda Güler starting.
He's more balanced. Bellingham was good.
Yeah, he was good. And I thought Kylian was okay. It's funny because in L'Equipe, if you read L'Equipe, this was Kylian's best performance. There's a goal and an assist, although the goal is again on a penalty. If you read the Madrid newspapers, it's like he lacks efficiency. He had 2 good chances, especially the first one in the first half. Should have scored more. Watching the game and covering for ESPN, it felt like Carlo changed and rested Vinicius because he said we need more control. So at some point, he will need to find the right balance and something that really clicks. But you need Vinicius, Mbappe and Rodrigo clearly to win this game, because it's when you brought Vinicius on and you had Vinicius, Mbappe, Rodrigo and Bellingham that you play your best and that you scored 4 goals and that you won. But the dilemma is, I'm not sure you can go far, especially against big teams in the Champions League with that front 4. I think something will have to give.
We've said that. Something does need to give. That's something.
But then when you don't have that front 4, you're 1-0 down against Espanyol at the Bernabeu.
You can make substitutions and bring people on, but I don't think, again, I thought they were clicking well. I thought they could have scored a couple of goals. Courtois, made his error of the year.
Yeah.
He doesn't make many, but that was it. And I think that kind of shifted the mood. But I thought that setup was actually pretty solid. But yeah, Vinicius is a value add, no question.
Yeah. Sticking with Real Madrid as well, last week you talked about players who complain about too many fixtures and that maybe they should take less money and play less games. And it's strange that Carlo Ancelotti pretty much agrees with you.
Yes, Ancelotti says if that leads to lowering salaries, the aim is for players to play fewer games. So I don't think the players will have any problem lowering their wages if they play less. I swear to God, I did not tell Ancelotti to say that. I did text him and say funnily enough, that's exactly the point I made last week. And it's pretty obvious. If you go beyond the bleeding from the morons out there greed, FIFA and UEFA, blah, blah, blah. you realize it's a simple equation. Clubs are losing enormous amounts of money
Yeah.
right now. It's not a good situation for them. And that's why they want to play more games to get more revenue. So there is something. And this only affects the real elites. Maybe this is one way forward. Paris Saint-Germain are held to a 1-1 draw at Reims as my boy Ousmane Dembele has to come off the bench to get the equalizer. Jules, did Luis Enrique get this game all wrong with his funny lineup?
I think so, Gab. It was so bad to watch. I mean, Wednesday was not great against Girona. Second half was much better. And it was just a win right at the end, an own goal. And this one was not much better. At least they didn't lose. But
They could have lost.
They could have
There was
lost,
a chance at the
right.
end.
Yeah. I don't know. He says he's very happy. Everybody's doing great, but he keeps changing and
Why does he
changing
need
and
to be so
changing
weird?
again. I don't know. And Barcola again was poor, really, really poor. So I don't know. They need to pick up that form for the weekend, but then it's Arsenal next Tuesday at the Emirates, and that's not going to be easy. So they started really well, and the last two games were just too complicated.
And as we'll see later, they're sharing first place now.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Michael Olise show for Bayern Munich. Gabi as they travel to Werder Bremen and push 5 past them, 2 for Olise with 2 assists. Werder had how much expected goals in that first half?
0.00. That means
No
they didn't
shot
shoot on goal once in the general direction of the goal.
Yeah.
I am so impressed with Olise. I mean, you could see he was always an eye test type player, but the guy is so calm.
Yeah.
And even, 2 years ago, he only scored 2 goals. He still delivered 11 assists. He's so unselfish, but also has such personality, such intelligence. I think it's gonna be difficult for some of these Bayern wingers to get back into the key team, whether it's Gnabry or Leroy Sané. Tottenham bounced back from their defeat in the North London derby with a 3-1 win over Brentford as Dominic Solanke opens his account. An injury-riddled Brentford side, I might add.
Yeah.
Jules, were you impressed?
So I was impressed by some parts of their game because they created a lot of chances and Maddison played well. They had a good momentum going forward with the ball. However, again, we go back to the same thing. Brentford could have scored easily a second goal. They scored very early in the game. Terrible defending again. They could have
Great
scored
goal.
2. Great goal by Mbomo, although I think he shins it a bit.
All right.
But still great. And yeah, they could easily have conceded 2 or 3. So we go back again to the balance. But this was a big win, especially on the back of the one at Coventry.
It was such a chaotic game.
It was just so open. It was just
Brentford
mad,
games can often be like that. And look, but this suits Spurs, but they're not going to be playing in these circumstances all the time.
That's very, very true. Nico Jackson scores twice, and Chelsea destroy West Ham away 3-0. Gael Maresca has won all 3 world games this season.
Yeah, I don't know how relevant that is because they haven't always played well. Look at the Bournemouth game.
Yeah.
But they played really well, I thought, in this game. And Nico Jackson, I'm really we've had his critics. I still think he's raw. I still think he can get a lot better than he is now. But he's really grown. And you know what's interesting about Nico Jackson is you talk to the analytics nerds, they say, people who play a lot of minutes at a young age, that's who you want to bet on because they're battle tested. Nico Jackson never played a lot of minutes before coming to Chelsea. I think he had one top flight season and even then didn't play much, half of it. He comes in, people talking about, they need stability to grow and a good team, good environment around them. He had a toxic environment around him last year. He did not have a good team. And yet, he's found a way to grow. And that's on him. And he's always had the personality and the athleticism. Now we're seeing this maturity, this better decision-making. I am impressed with him, and hopefully that continues. Yeah. Bayer Leverkusen need a late winner from Victor Boniface to get the 3 points at home against Wolfsburg. It's the usual buzzer beater, Jules.
Yeah.
But Granit Xhaka wasn't happy after the 4-3 win. This was not a good performance.
It was not a good performance, and red card as well for Wolfsburg, which is the template that we saw a lot last season. For example, 93rd minute winner by Boniface. Maybe I guess there was the Champions League 2 on Thursday night. So
yeah, that's why he has the bigger squad.
Yeah, that's true. But again, not good enough overall, especially defensively in that game.
And Xabi Alonso says, I know what we need to improve.
Let's see, because they have Bayern at the weekend, of course, on Saturday. Ivan Juric leads Roma to a 3-0 win over Udinese. We're top of the table before the game. In his first game as a Roma head coach, but Gab, the fans are still angry about De Rossi's departure.
They're really angry. And they're not angry because De Rossi is a club legend and the fans are stupid. They're angry at the way the club are running this and the way this was handled. Yeah. Just a reminder. De Rossi had lost 1 game in 4. He hadn't won any, but he'd only lost the 1 game in 4. But crucially, most of his signings came at the very end of the transfer window. He didn't have any time to work with them. They reacted really, really badly. when he was sacked. And they took it out because they can't take it on the Friedkins because you can't find the Friedkins.
Yeah.
He never faced the media and they never talk. They took it out on Roma's chief executive, Lina Soluku, who she received death threats and she's got 2 young children. And so she resigned. What really bothers me here is that nobody in their right mind thinks that Lina Soluku made this decision on her own to be mean to De Rossi. The Friedkins made this decision. She's just a CEO.
Yeah.
So she falls again. The way this club is run, I just don't understand it. Victor Osimhen delivers a delicious chested assist, and Galatasaray beat Fenerbahce 3-1 in the big Istanbul derby. Jules Jose Mourinho doesn't take it well and skips out on the post-match press conference. It's only September. Roma at least he wait a couple months before doing stuff like this.
Jose, what went on? You know how he got trolled by the Galatasaray social media account that called him the crying one.
Yeah.
What a game, to be fair, because Fenerbahce were really good. I think they were better than Galatasaray. They created more chances. They had higher expected goals, everything. They just could not score. Muslera made 9 saves or something like that, 8 saves.
All right, get to Osimhen and come on.
No, but I'm just saying Fenerbahce were
chested
the better
assist.
team. Yeah,
Come on.
great for Mertens. But Fenerbahce deserved to win. I don't care what Osimhen did. Fenerbahce were the better team. They deserved to win. I can see Mourinho's frustration after the game, but Osimhen was outstanding on that chest pass. We said the chest pass about Musiala for Bayern in the game against Zagreb. This was almost as good for Mertens.
This was better because it's Osimhen.
I think the Turkish league is going to be really, really cool this season. Cristiano Ronaldo scores in Al Nassr 3-0 win over Al Ettifaq this weekend and celebrates holding up 3 fingers. Yeah, what does this mean?
So, apparently what it means, and we found this out because I suspect that there are social media people working for him who put this out there, that his son, Cristiano Jr., who is 14 years old and plays for Al Nassr's youth team, he scored 2 goals. So the 3 is supposed to mean that between them, they scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
Look, this is all just part of the media machine, and that's fine. I have no problem with it. Cristiano Ronaldo earned the right to go and do this kind of mediatic silliness and whatever. It's pretty empty. People enjoy it. But he's earned the right to do that. Just like, apparently, Portugal's mint, they want to mint a commemorative €7 coin to celebrate Cristiano. I didn't know they could mint their own coins. I thought the European Central Bank did that. But who knows? Maybe they asked. Maybe it's Cristiano. I think it's going to be a collector's item. I don't think you'll be paying for your anchovy sandwich or your bacalao with your €7 coin. Jules, this brings us to an end, but we got to come back on Thursday and do it all over again because it's a League Cup. No, because there's so much midweek football going on. Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.